Okay, so for my final, this is my Rube Goldberg machine, and I've chosen to draw mine. And it starts out with a guy who has a basketball, and he's going to throw it. And this is an example of projectile motion. When the ball leaves his hands, the only force acting on the ball is the force of gravity, which is acting straight down, which is how we know that it's projectile motion. He also has to know the correct angle and velocity to throw the ball at in order to make it into the hoop. Once the ball makes it into the hoop, it'll hit this lever thing that nudges a golf ball at the top, which causes it to roll down this ramp, which is an example of rotational motion as the ball's moving without slipping. The ball then runs into the wine bottle, which is an example of conservation of momentum. This is a perfectly elastic collision, and the golf ball will bounce off of the wine bottle, and the golf ball will bounce off in the opposite direction. They will not move together in the same direction because the golf ball is less massive than the wine bottle. Once the wine bottle is hit by the golf ball, it'll fall off this ledge into a sled that is on a frictionless surface. The sled will then slide down the frictionless surface, and in order to find out that acceleration, we could take the normal force, which is perpendicular to this sled, and the force of gravity, which is parallel to the sled, or to the surface. And when using those, we could solve for our F net equals ma and solve for the acceleration of how fast the sled is accelerating down that ramp. The sled will then bump into this wheel, which is then rotating without slipping across the surface. As the wheel's rotating without slipping, we know that the velocity is equal to the rotational velocity. And this is an example of rotational motion. And after the wheel bumps into this post, it has a string attached that comes up to a piece of wood that's keeping this spring compressed. While the spring is compressed, it's containing a lot of potential energy. But once this string is pulled and the piece of wood is removed, the spring will become uncompressed, and it'll release all of its potential energy into kinetic energy, which then pushes the confetti out for the finish of the Rube Goldberg machine.